I'm back with your next class. In today's class, we are going to start with plant breeding for disease resistance. So now let us discuss about plant breeding for disease resistance. So all of you know that pathogen is an organism that causes disease in another organism, and this other organism is known as host, right? So plants are very much vulnerable to various types of infections which are caused by bacteria, mostly fungi, virus, etc. So all these organisms, that is fungi or bacteria or virus, they would act as a pathogen to the host plant. Alright. So now due to this pathogens affecting or causing infection in the plant body or in the crop plants, sometimes 20 to 30% of the total crop is lost, and sometimes even the total crop is lost. So that is going to be very much devastating to the farmers, and also would lead to the decrease or reduction in the crop yield, right? So something has to be done to make the host plants or the crop plants disease resistant. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss under this topic. One thing all of you should know, that whenever a disease is caused or an infection is caused, there are three factors that are responsible or interacting with one another: host, pathogen, and environment. Right? Among these three interacting with one another, we of course cannot change the environment, right? That is beyond our control. And we also cannot change the genotype of the pathogen because it usually keeps changing over time. So what we need to work on is the genotype of the host. That's the only solution to this problem. So now it has been found that certain plants, especially the wild relatives, you remember we have talked about certain plants which had naturally evolved, right? And that we call as the wild relative, right? And continuous domestication of the wild relative will give you the domesticated varieties, right? So mostly the wild relatives of plants, they bear certain disease resistant genes. They were naturally resistant to the attack by various pathogens. Okay, so these varieties are called disease resistant varieties. So by plant breeding, what we mostly need to do is that we should isolate these disease resistant genes, and we should try to inculcate or introduce those genes in the crop plants, so that the problem of reduction in yield due to harmful pathogens, that would be reduced, right? Or sometimes completely diminished. Alright. So now, before we go further and before I discuss with you that how exactly plant breeding for disease resistance is done, you must first make a list of important crop plants and the important diseases that are caused in them. This is the list: important disease of economically important plants. First is potato. The disease that occurs in potato is late blight of potato, and it is caused by a fungi, Phytophthora infestans. So if you are able to recall, you might be remembering that these examples are very common, and you have already got it in biological classification chapter, isn't it? Next is wheat. The various diseases in wheat are loose smut of wheat, that's caused by Ustilago nuda triticae, again another fungi, isn't it? Basidiomycetes. Brown rust of wheat. Rust disease is caused by Puccinia, isn't it? So the causative organism is Puccinia recondita. Then black rust of wheat, it is caused by Puccinia graminis triticae. That is also a fungi, again Basidiomycetes. Next is sugarcane. It's diseased by red rot of sugarcane, and it is caused by a Deuteromycetes, Coledotrichum falcatum, another fungi. So mostly you will get the examples of fungi here. See, 90% of all plant diseases are caused by fungi. So plants are more vulnerable to fungi, whereas animals or even humans are more vulnerable to bacteria. Alright. Now, crucifer. That is black rot of crucifer. It's caused by Xanthomonas campestris. Then rice. Rice usually gets the disease bacterial blight, which is also caused by Xanthomonas oryza. And finally tobacco mosaic disease, which all of you very well know, it is caused by the virus TMV, tobacco mosaic virus, which is the first virus to be discovered, right? Now let us discuss how exactly plant breeding for disease resistance can be done. Now it can be done by two methods. One is by the conventional method, that is by hybridization and selection. On the other hand, the other method is called mutation breeding. That means how we can introduce some disease resistant genes in the host by the help of mutations. Alright, so let's see both the methods. First, conventional method. Alright, conventional breeding, which is done by hybridization and selection, and it includes these following steps which we have already discussed in details in the first part of the chapter. Okay, if you remember, first, whenever we are trying to make a hybrid with desirable traits, we need to collect the germplasm, isn't it? That means all the seeds of all the different types of varieties of a crop that has been formed so far. Next, we need to now select the parents according to whatever kind of crops we are trying to make, and then hybridize the plants, right? By emasculation and bagging, we need to hybridize the parental plants. Alright. Next, what we need to do? Selection and evaluation of hybrids. Now, this was the most tedious thing to do, because mostly after hybridization, out of 1,000 seeds or out of 1,000 progeny, maybe hardly one or two would possess the desired characteristics, isn't it? So in that case, we have to select them and we have to evaluate them, and finally we have to keep on making them undergo self-pollination so that they can convert into a pure breed, pure line breed. Okay. Finally, testing and release of new varieties. That is done by ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, isn't it? And then release of the seeds would be done by NSC, National Seed Corporation, right? So by this conventional method of hybridization, we can produce certain hybrids which will be disease resistant, okay? Which will show disease resistant, alright? And of course, by this method, successfully certain crop varieties have been improved so far, a list of which has been put forward here. Do remember, this chapter is also based on examples. In MCQs, you need to be remembering examples. If you don't remember examples, then it would be very difficult for you to score in this chapter. So all these lists that I'm giving you or providing you, they are very, very important. Alright, so let's have a look at the list. First, crop, wheat, the variety. This is the variety that has disease resistance. That is the improved variety, okay? So let me write it here, improved variety. Improved variety is Himgiri, and it is resistant to which disease? It is resistant to leaf and stripe rust, hill bunt. Next, Brassica. Brassica, here the improved variety for the Brassica that has been produced by conventional breeding would be Pusa swarne or Karan Rai, and it is resistant to the disease white rust. Alright. Next is cauliflower. Cauliflower, the improved variety is Pusa Shubhra and Pusa Snowball K1. I know the examples are very interesting, isn't it? That would rather make it easier for you to remember them, I guess, right? So next, it is resistant to the disease black rot and curl blight black rot. Alright. Next, cowpea. The improved variety would be Pusa Komal and resistant to the disease bacterial blight. Okay. Next, chili. The improved variety is Pusa Sadabahar. Okay. And resistant to the disease chili mosaic virus. CMV is chili mosaic virus, tobacco mosaic virus and leaf curl. Also, as I have told you, from the wild relatives mostly, the disease-resistant genes are isolated. Alright. Likewise, by isolating disease-resistant gene from the wild relative, it was introduced to a new variety of okra or bhindi. Okay, that's how we get a disease-resistant variety of bhindi, which is this. Okay, its okra means bhindi. So improved variety is Prabhani Kranti, and the resistant to disease would be yellow mosaic virus. So this Prabhani Kranti variety of bhindi or okra has been produced by disease-resistant gene from the wild relative. Alright, and it is resistant to yellow mosaic virus. So this is about the conventional breeding method. Now let us see the next one. That is another way how plant breeding for disease resistance can be done. Okay, it's mutation breeding. So here the disease resistant varieties are made by or created by mutation. So first thing, what is mutation? Sudden change in the genotype or genetic makeup of an organism is known as mutation. Alright. Now, mutations can be of two types mainly. One is spontaneous mutation and another is induced mutation. Spontaneous mutation is a very slow mutation that happens naturally. All the time naturally in our DNA or in our genetic material, certain changes would keep occurring but very slowly. So these are also mutations, but because they are not happening at a very fast rate, that's why usually they are not very harmful. Okay. The next one is induced mutation. Now this one would have a rapid rate. It will be very fast. Okay. Now induced mutation is a mutation that will be artificially inducing in the genes or in the DNA of the organism. And how do we do that? We induce these mutations by the help of mutagens. Mutagens are substances by the help of which you can induce mutation in an organism. Alright. The mutagens can be of two types, chemical mutagen and physical mutagen. Chemical mutagens are nothing else but chemicals, but physical mutagens are radiations. Okay. Of course, more harmful are chemical mutagens. So chemical mutagens, the most commonly used are EMS, ethyl methane sulfonate, and sodium azide, whereas physical mutagens are various radiations like UV, X-ray, gamma ray, etc. Okay. So by introducing these mutagens or by altering the genotype of a crop plant, the most important achievements of mutation breeding that we have received so far are in mung bean. In mung bean, by inducing mutation by the help of mutagens, we have made it disease resistant to yellow mosaic virus and powdery mildew. Okay. Also about this you know very well. We have already discussed it under Green Revolution. Sonora 64 and Lerma Rosso 64, these were red green dwarf variety of wheat which were changed by gamma mutation. By gamma radiation they were changed into amber grain. Amber means golden yellow. Golden, from red variety, red grain variety, they were changed to golden yellow variety. Okay, and these varieties were Sharbati Sonora and Pusa Lerma. These two were very much responsible for bringing about Green Revolution in India. Alright. So that's it regarding mutation breeding. Now all you need to remember are certain important examples of mutation breeding. They are Remy, Atomita 2 and Jagannath variety of rice, Erectiferum and Erectoroid variety of barley, Aruna variety of castor, NP 836 variety of wheat and Indore 2 variety of cotton. Alright, so this is all about plant breeding for disease resistant. Next we'll discuss plant breeding for developing resistant to insect pests. Now let's discuss plant breeding for developing resistant to insect pests. Okay. Now apart from infectious diseases, every year or every crop season, a huge amount of crop would again be lost due to insect pests as well. They can equally be devastating to the agriculture. Alright. So that's why we also need to develop certain crop varieties which will be resistant towards insect pests. Now you might be thinking, how do we develop that, or how do we do plant breeding for such crops? That would be again done the same manner, that is conventional manner of hybridization and selection. We need to be collecting the germplasm. Next, we have to select from the germplasm certain plants which will show insect resistance or pest resistance, isn't it? Those plants will then be chosen as parent for our experiment, right? Finally, we'll have to make the plants undergo hybridization, and then we have to select and evaluate the hybrids. Once that is done, testing and release is the last step. So it is going to be exactly the same manner how conventional plant breeding is done, or what we have discussed under the disease resistant part. Same thing, only that in parental generation, or the parental plants here that has to be chosen from the germplasm should carry insect or pest resistant genes, or they should be insect or pest resistant. Okay, fine. So now see these important points. Insect resistance in the host crop plant is due to three important characters: morphological characters, biochemical and physiological characters. Okay, now this will become more clear to you from this following examples. Like for example, in wheat, the resistant to insect pests is stem soft fly. And why? The reason for resistance in wheat, reason for resistance would be solid stem. The solid stem of wheat won't be able to be penetrated by the stem soft fly. Alright, so that's why it is a morphological characteristic of the wheat that makes it resistant to insect or pest. Which insect? Stem soft fly. Understood? Certain variety of wheat, they are naturally resistant to stem soft fly. Why? Because they have morphologically solid stem. Understood that? Likewise, these are the other important examples. Again, wheat, leaf beetles. The reason to resistance will be hairy leaf. Okay? And of course, hairy leaf is again a morphological character, right? Next, cotton. Cotton is resistant to jacids. Now why? What is the reason? The reason is again the same, hairy leaf. And that's why it is also again a morphological character. So due to the morphological characters, these plants, they are resistant to this following insects. Alright. Next one, again cotton. It's resistant to bollworms. Why? What's the reason? Due to smooth leaves and absence of nectar. So this is going to be both morphological and biochemical character. Last is maize. Maize would be resistant to stem borers. The reason to resistance is low nitrogen and sugar, whereas high aspartic acid. Type of resistance is of course biochemical. Alright, again as I've told you before, this chapter is all about learning such charts. You have to remember or memorize them. Okay, so finally, by conventional method, we have successfully produced a few important crop varieties which are resistant to insect and pest, and the examples are as follows. For Brassica, the variety that has been released, okay, successfully made and released, is Pusa Gaurav. It is resistant to the insect aphids. For flat bean, the variety that has been made and released is Pusa Sem 2 and Pusa Sem 3, and it is resistant to jacids, aphids and fruit borers. Finally, okra or bhindi, variety that has been produced and released would be Pusa Swani and Pusa A4, and resistant to insect would be shoot and fruit borers. Alright, so all of you try remembering this chart. So with that, this discussion being over, the next topic is biofortification. Now let us discuss plant breeding for improving food quality, which is also known as biofortification. Now, you would be surprised to know around 840 million people, they do not have adequate amount of food to eat daily. On the other hand, around 3 billion people throughout the world, they are suffering from hidden hunger. That means even if they're eating their food, but their diet usually lacks various nutrients, okay? Like the micronutrients, mostly like vitamin A, iron, iodine, etc. Okay? So this would reduce their lifespan, their mental abilities, and various diseases also can be caused, right? So in such a situation, it's a very important need of the hour that we not only do plant breeding to make the crops disease resistant or make them insect resistant, but also to improve their nutritional qualities. Okay. And when plant breeding is done to improve nutritional quality of a crop plant, that is what is known as biofortification. Alright, it's a very, very important topic for your exam. Now, see this. So, breeding of crops for higher levels of vitamin and minerals or higher proteins and healthier fats, that's what is known as biofortification. Alright. Now, what are the objectives of biofortification? The objectives of biofortification is to improve protein content and quality, oil content and quality, vitamin content, micronutrient and mineral content. Alright. Now, before I go further into the important examples, you must know a very important thing. See, the cereals like rice, wheat, etc. The cereals are commonly deficient, naturally deficient in certain amino acids like lysine and tryptophan. Likewise, legumes are commonly deficient. Naturally, they are deficient in methionine and cysteine. These are all amino acids. Okay. So in that case, we have to emphasize in improving this content, and that can be done under biofortification. Alright. Now, important examples under biofortifications are as follows. These are very, very important. All of you mark them very properly. Okay. So in 2000, maize hybrids with twice the amount of lysine and tryptophan were developed. Because they are naturally deficient in these amino acids, that's why a lot of emphasis were put on improving lysine and tryptophan content in case of maize. Okay. Next, 3 lysine-rich maize varieties were developed in India. Now this is for India. They were named as Proteina, Shakti and Ratan. Okay. Next, wheat variety Atlas 66 with high protein content has been used to improve the wheat. Okay, it would enhance the protein content of wheat. Next, 5 times iron rich rice variety has been developed. And then Indian Agricultural Research Institute, New Delhi has developed various varieties which will be enriched with different nutrients like vitamin A enriched carrot, pumpkin and spinach, vitamin C enriched bitter gourd, bathua, tomato and mustard, calcium and iron enriched spinach and bathua, and finally protein enriched beans like French beans, flat beans, etc. and garden pea. Okay. So this is all about biofortification. The examples are very, very important. So with that, we end the class here itself. In the next class, we'll start with single cell protein.